Why does making friends as an adult feel so
What
hard?
should I wear on a first
What the
date?
hell is a 401?
But that
Why
hookup
is
was
buying my
not
first
good.
home
What
so
do I want my
frustrating?
life to look like in 5 years?
We want to know too.
Since 2012, the Everygirl has been an online destination to help women around the world achieve the life of their dreams. Now, we're excited to bring you the same inspiring content with the Everygirl podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Everygirl podcast, and happy March. Spring is springing. Maybe not for many of you that are in very cold weather right now, but March means that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, sunshine is coming. We'll get to wear shorts again. Our seasonal depression will be over. It's coming, guys. I have come to really love spring because energetically, it's like the time of year where we are meant to reevaluate and get back in touch with ourselves and kind of declutter mentally and physically and energetically. You know what I mean? The concept of spring cleaning comes from back in the day when homes were heated by wood and they were lit by lanterns that left layers of soot on every surface. So once it was spring, you would open up the windows and doors and like scrub the floors. It was like deep cleaning 1800 style. You know what? I want a clean talk video, like a come with me to deep clean my home TikTok from like the 1800s because they were not working with magic erasers and that pink stuff cleaning paste. Like, what is their trick? Anyway, there are societal traditions for why we clean our homes this time of year, why we have this concept of spring cleaning. But I think it's also energetically just a really great time to kind of deep clean our entire lives. Like, think about it like the flowers are blooming. It's the season of rebirth and new beginnings. And we also have more rain showers. So it's this feeling of washing away what's not serving us and planting the seeds for what will. I promise I will not give any other plant metaphors in this episode. That was the one and only one I allowed myself. So, I want to encourage you to take advantage of this energy and this time of year that we're in to do a little life edit with me, to spring clean your life instead of just your home. But I just want to first set the vibe, what the actual purpose of this is, because there are a lot of trends or rituals or general self improvement that causes us to lose the plot. Like, we get so obsessed with always improving that it just translates to never feeling good enough. And I don't want you to fall into that trap. The purpose of this life edit is not because your life is not already good enough or that you need to change all your habits and routines in order to be more worthy. That is definitely not true. Instead, the purpose of this is all about intentionality. Our brains are wired for comfort and they really want to keep the habits that we currently have in existence. The brain does not like anything new, it doesn't like anything out of routine. If you are struggling with breaking out of habits or routines that you have, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's actually because your brain is working as it's supposed to. The human brain evolved to avoid uncertainty because in prehistoric times, unfamiliar situations could be dangerous. The brain views change or newness as a potential threat. So, your brain really wants you to stay the same. It freaking loves habits and it wants you to keep those habits. But the problem with that is it means that we are really prone to living our lives on autopilot. Day after day, we live the routines, do the job, think the thoughts, have the relationships that feel comfortable to us, that we don't really have to think too much about or try too hard to get. We like what feels normal to us rather than being highly intentional on a day to day basis about making choices and changes that truly will make us our happiest, that would be most authentic to us instead of just the path of least resistance. We forget that we can and absolutely should completely create the life that we want for ourselves. So, a life edit means turning off autopilot. In this life edit, you will be analyzing your current habits, but I also really want to stress that I don't want you to feel shame or self judgment going through this when you are reflecting on the habits that may not be working for you. Think of it like this: if an employee is not a good fit for a company, you don't blame the CEO and say, wow, what an awful CEO. It's the CEO's fault, so this company is doomed. Why even try to rehire a better employee? The employee seemed like a good fit at the time they got hired. It's not the CEO's fault, and it's like no big deal. Like they just get to use the information they now have to rehire a better employee that will serve the company better. Think of your life like a company. You are the CEO, and all of the habits that you have are little employees that are going to work for you. Right now, it's performance review time. And as the CEO, you get to decide if these employees are doing a good job or if you want to let them go and rehire employees who would do a better job for the company. So, now I'm going to walk you through how to perform a life edit and then give you some tips to spring clean every area of your life like a self improvement deep cleaning. I look at a life edit like I'm editing an article. I first have to read the entire article to know what I'm working with and where I want it to go. So, I want you to first get a pen and paper and make a list of every area of your life that matters to you. Most of us will likely have categories like home, social life or friendships, physical health, mental health, career, finances. You can also add in any category that you want to get more specific or that you feel like may need some additional spring cleaning. Like, let's say you add a section for how you spend your free time or your relationship with your devices. And I want you to go through each section, journaling about how you feel and where you are at in each of these categories. It first is just asking, how do I feel in each of these categories? Do I feel satisfied in my career? Do I feel happy in my friendships? It really is just the check in of each of these categories of your life. And then it's time to start doing a little bit more reflection on each of these categories. So you can ask yourself, what is holding me back? Or what blocks do I have? What is not serving me? What feels overwhelming? What can I let go of? What do I want more of in this area of my life? What would make me feel happier or more at peace in this area of my life? What would ease some stress? And I really want you to use this as a reflection. Like, that is the important part. So, reread every category and really reflect on it. Spend some time thinking about how that area is showing up in your life and what habits or beliefs or relationships or routines are not serving you. And what would you change to feel happier? Again, I have to stress this. The goal is not to feel any judgment. The goal is to gain clarity. So, for example, I have had years past where I'm life editing, and in my finance category, I talk about how I really want to invest more. I wish I had more money invested. So, that includes literally putting money into investments, adding more to my 401k, but also investing in myself more. Like, I didn't want to spend my money, I wanted to use my money to bring me a higher ROI, whether it was allocating money for cleaning service so that could free me time cleaning and I would always have a clean home, or whether that was investing back into my career or my health, things like that. That would make me feel happier. That would make me use this category of my life in a way that's making my life fuller. But in doing this life edit, I had to come face to face with the mindless spending that I was doing that prevented me from the financial life that I wanted for myself. And I also had to acknowledge the habits that I had, like, for example, ordering food just because it's Sunday night. Uber Eats is like an ungodly luxury at this point, especially in LA, or the clothes that I spent money on and only wore once. So I had to acknowledge the patterns and the habits that were holding me back, but it's important to not judge yourself for them. That's why I explained that the brain loves habits and wants to keep you in habits because it's not like it's your fault. The brain is wired to keep comfortable patterns and habits. It's just about being intentional and knowing the habits that you have so you get to decide whether or not you want to keep them. Some of these habits I'm talking about may be action based, like tangible tasks that you can pinpoint, like my example of spending money on Uber Eats instead of investing more money. But it's also really important to look at mindsets and beliefs in each category of your life. You've heard me say self esteem is your ceiling. What you believe about yourself is your reality. I forget who said this, but Oprah, of course, did an interview with someone years ago that completely changed my brain chemistry. They said that the words I am are the most powerful words because whatever follows I am becomes reality. It's like they're magic words. So if you say, I am so exhausted and tired, you will be exhausted and tired. But if you say, I am energized and excited about my day, it is amazing. Seriously, test this with yourself. If you start feeling tired or you feel exhausted, start telling yourself, I am actually really energized. I'm really excited about the next meeting I have in a couple hours, or I feel really great. I'm energized right now. You will be amazed at how you actually start feeling what you said followed I am. When it comes to your life edit, where are your I ams that are not working for you? Are you saying, I never work out because I am lazy, or I am bad at my job, or I'm not really worthy enough to have better friends? Start editing beliefs and mindsets too. Replace it with an I am that you actually want to bring into reality. So now that you have fully reflected and kind of started the editing process, it's time to actually do the deep cleaning. Using these reflections and what came out of this life edit as your guide, take time creating action steps for every section of your life. And I will give some general ideas for that in a minute as well. But for example, if you're editing your relationship to screens or technology, because that is one I absolutely need to be editing myself this year, the action steps will look a lot like decluttering, taking away stresses or routines that don't serve you from this area of your life, as well as putting new routines in place to make this category in your life feel better for you. So maybe it could be, you're going to delete old contacts, you're going to set time limits on social media apps, you're going to declutter your desktop, you clear your inbox by unsubscribing from emails that cause you stress or that no longer apply to your life. And then if your goal is like, let's say you decide you want to spend less time on social media, does that mean you make the action step of unfollowing a few accounts that leave you feeling drained? Think about the steps that will actually help you reach the goals. So it's putting all of the awareness of where you are at in this category in action steps. Everyone's life edit is going to look vastly different. And I think the really important part, just like with anything with self improvement or wellness, the important part is that you personalize it to your life and your goals. But if you want some general tips to spring clean your entire life, or maybe you need a little inspiration, I got you too. Let's go step by step in the various categories of your life. Remember the days of hydrated, glowy skin? Yeah, me neither. With how cold and dry this winter is, dewy summer skin feels like a distant memory. I have been on the East Coast, so my sensitive LA skin is especially not used to this cold weather and how drying the heat can be indoors. And I was getting super bad dry patches and just felt so dull and dry. But luckily, I already knew what to do. I ordered another Undaria algae body butter from Osea. You guys know I am such a huge fan of this stuff, and my skin felt instantly more hydrated and glowy in just one use. I normally don't like body butter because it feels so thick and greasy, but this body butter absorbs right away and leaves my skin feeling almost hydrated from within instead of greasy. My fiance was getting cracked, dry hands in this weather, and he hates the feeling of anything on his skin. But even he loves this body butter because it works. It absorbs quickly, so he doesn't feel like he has anything on. And he also really loves the smell. It's like this luxurious, fresh citrus scent that makes you feel like you're on vacation in Cabo. It's called escapism, okay? Plus, the nutrient-rich Undaria seaweed and other super ingredients contain powerful nutrients that give my skin a subtle glow, helping to improve overall texture and appearance instead of just moisture. Treat yourself to clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code TheEverygirl at OseaMalibu.com. You may have heard me mention before how this has probably been the most stressful year of my life, as I know a lot of people feel the same way. And not to brag, but I normally have my stress levels under control. This year, however, proved to be a much different beast, dealing with personal issues, an extremely hectic schedule, a terrifying news cycle that does not seem to stop. Like 2024 and now the beginning of 2025 got the best of me. But being the health nerd that I am, I knew I needed to support my body in addition to my regular therapy sessions because stress or worry is not just mental, it's a physiological response. When I noticed I was feeling a little more on edge or stressed than normal, I started taking Ashwamag. It's a natural supplement formulated by nutritional psychologists that combined ashwagandha, two types of magnesium, L-theanine, and methylated vitamin B6, all of which target the root cause of poor mood. I always say to do your research when it comes to supplements, and Ashwamag seems like the best mood supplement to me because it had been well researched and the combination of natural ingredients worked to target the root cause. I love that Ashwamag helps me feel calm, relaxed, and focused. In fact, one study found that in just 30 days, 84% of users reported better sleep, while 90% saw overall mood improvement after 3 months. So, in case you're looking for natural mood or sleep support too, I got you a discount. Ashwamag is exclusively offering the Everygirl podcast listeners 20% off your monthly subscription for first-time customers purchasing on the website with code Everygirl20. Terms apply. The monthly subscription includes free shipping, FYI, which I love. Just visit ashwamag.com, that's ASHWAMAG.com, to start your stress relief journey. If you kind of want to skip the life edit part of it and all the reflection and just start changing some habits or routines, other ways to deep clean your entire life, I'm going to walk you through these main categories of your life and talk about some ideas to spring clean in these areas that hopefully will serve you. It's not about doing absolutely everything that I'm about to list. It's about taking the things that resonate with you and that you think will make the biggest difference for you. So, to start, if you want to spring clean your mind, as I think most of us probably could use a good old decluttering of the mind. Everybody talks about detoxes for your body, but I think the most important detox you could possibly do for your health is to detox your mind. So when you're doing spring cleaning, I would start here. This is the first place that I would focus on. Think of it like you're decluttering your thoughts. Just like a cluttered home makes it harder to find what you need, a cluttered mind can lead to stress, anxiety, overthinking, and your thoughts, again, dictate your reality. So it's likely your mind that is dictating where you're not feeling super happy or satisfied in your life. It's the snowball effect that will inevitably change all of the other facets or the other things that you're looking to improve in your life as well. Through this life edit journal exercise, you probably found a lot of limiting beliefs or negative thoughts that are holding you back. Maybe if you didn't do the life edit, you want to spend some time reflecting on like, what are those beliefs that continuously show up in my life that are like really not serving me? They're actually holding me in this previous identity that I no longer want to have. For me, two tools that really help me declutter my mind and kind of help myself get rid of these negative thought patterns are Stoicism and good old cognitive behavior therapy. The Stoics really emphasized the idea of letting go of what you can't control. They were like the OG let them theory. If you haven't heard of this, Mel Robbins made this viral. It's basically the idea to just say, let them, to let go of things that you can't control. Like your friends didn't invite you when they were hanging out. let them not invite you. Like, it really is just a mental reframe to let go instead of getting so stressed and worked up and overthinking about the things that we can't control anyway. The let them theory is tricky because I have heard of a lot of therapists, and I very much agree with this, that come out and say that's actually a toxic belief, is to let people, like, that's kind of like the anti boundary setting. Like, it is an important part to not let people do certain things. But I think that this can be an effective tool when it comes to things that we can't control. Or, for example, something that really helped me. Thank God I don't feel this in my current relationship, but in previous relationships, I would feel that, like, worry about, like, I mean, I also was so young. I feel like this is maybe normal when you're young, but I would feel that feeling of, "Oh god, they're going on a boys' trip. What if he cheats on me? What if something happens?" And so adopting that let them. Let him be an asshole and show his cards. Let him cheat on me and show me who he truly is. That, I think, frees me from a lot of, like, worrying about what I can't control. So I think when applied in the right places, it can be helpful to almost just, like, ease that burden of that feeling of control that a lot of us feel like we need to have. But this idea is nothing new. It's something that the Stoics have talked a lot about, is just allowing yourself not to get caught up in things that you can't control. Easier said than done, but like everything else, it's a practice. And then working with a therapist using cognitive behavior therapy is really transformative to challenge those negative thought patterns. When I talk about doing like a life edit, spring cleaning your mind, it really is like a negative thought audit, which cognitive therapy does it in a lot more psychology backed way. I always recommend every single person should be in therapy always. I'm a huge fan and proponent of therapy, so I absolutely recommend going to see a therapist on your own, but to also give you an idea of how to use cognitive behavior practices in order to declutter your mind or cleanse your mind, get rid of those limiting beliefs. The first step is knowing when a cognitive distortion is coming up. Mental clutter, if you will. Like, they're basically just negative thought patterns that are not serving you. They basically like distort reality and they increase stress. It's worrying about things that are not rooted in reality. So, a few different examples of these cognitive distortions to look out for. There's 4 different categories of these cognitive distortions to begin looking out for and start to notice when you're doing this. The first one is catastrophizing. So, for example, like, if I fail this project, my whole career is over, or this person didn't text me after our first date, that must mean that I'll never find my person. Then you have black or white thinking. So it's either a yes or a no. So we also see this a lot with physical health when you say things like, I already had some french fries, screw it. My whole day is ruined anyway. I might as well order the pizza and have 10 margaritas and blah, blah, blah. We've all been there. We all understand that black or white thinking. There's mind reading. So if they didn't text back, that must mean that they're mad at me. It's worrying about what other people are thinking without actually having them tell you. And then should statements. Very common. I should be more successful by now. I should have more friends. I mean, the list of the shoulds go on and on and on. So these are 4 very common cognitive distortions that I would begin really looking out for when you notice that they've come up. When you have one of these thoughts, challenge and reframe the thought. So ask yourself, is this 100% true? Where is the evidence that if I fail this one project, my whole career is going to be over? Where is the evidence of I should be more successful by now? So challenge it. And then you can replace it with a thought that serves you more and is more rooted in reality. So, for example, I got fired. That means I'm a nobody and I will never succeed. That's not rooted in reality. You got fired, it doesn't mean that you won't succeed in your life. You know, you could look at all these hugely successful people that were fired. I'm pretty sure Oprah got fired from a journalism job. Okay. If Oprah got fired from a journalism job, you'll be fine. You can look for a lot more evidence of how, and maybe even in your own life, I see where I have failed before, or I see where it hasn't worked out for me before, and I still moved forward. This was just one challenge. It's realizing that you actually don't have evidence to support that cognitive distortion, but there actually may be more evidence to support the opposite. And that thought serves you a lot better. And maybe sometimes there may be evidence to support this thought. Like maybe you have this identity of, I'm terrible at public speaking. I hate public speaking. Challenge the thought. Has there ever been a time where you have spoken well, even if it's not publicly? Is it possible to improve with practice, with time, with experience? So now the new thought, once we've challenged that, is I may not be perfect. I may not be naturally good at public speaking, as a lot of people aren't, but I can prepare, I can practice, I can improve over time. Let me look for other evidence of where I have started not very good at something and I have gotten so much better at it. So that's the cognitive behavior lens of what spring cleaning your mind may look like. I also wrote an article on the everygirl.com about doing a complaint cleanse where I did not let myself complain once for a period of time. I think I did for a week. And it really does change the way that you view the world. So that's something else you can do too. I feel like everybody could probably try a complaint cleanse here and there. One last little tip for spring cleaning your mind is the idea of cloud watching your thoughts. I like to remind myself of this Eckhart Tolle quote that says, "You are the sky, the clouds are what happens, what comes and goes." I think of myself as the sky, and then these thoughts that come in my head, they're the clouds. So they are not me. The clouds may look like they're the sky, but they actually are not the sky. The clouds simply come and go, like they will pass. So this helps me kind of remind myself that I can observe my thoughts without getting so stuck in them and without allowing them to like become me. So if I have a thought about my identity, I can notice that's not actually me. This negative thought pattern is not me. It's just a cloud that is coming and going. It will pass. To spring clean your physical health. I hate to say it, guys. I'm going to sound like a broken record. The first thing I want you to do if you are looking to spring clean your physical health, optimize sleep first and foremost. It is more important than diet and exercise. Whenever people ask me one thing they can do to change their health, like if I want to focus on one thing and it's going to be the biggest bang for my buck, what should I focus on to change my health? Right after getting stress under control and improving joy, I always say sleep. You need enough high quality hours of sleep for disease prevention, for detoxification, immune health, brain health. You need sleep for diet and exercise goals too, because sleep controls your metabolism and your hunger hormones. And during sleep, the body releases the growth hormone, which is what increases your muscular strength. How cool is that? That you are literally toning your body in your sleep. So, your body needs sleep not only to function optimally, but if you have all of these fitness or nutrition goals and you're not getting enough sleep, it's kind of like you're running in place. Like you're not actually allowing your body to get to where you want it to go because if you're sabotaging your sleep, lack of sleep is going to sabotage everything else that you want to do. Even though influencers may make you feel like you do have to, you do not need to spend a lot of money on tape and supplements and noise machines. Like these things can all be great. They can be great tools. But I just want to remind people that our bodies are meant to sleep, especially when it comes to this idea of a life edit and spring cleaning. Focus more on what you can remove in your routine than what you need to add. Like limit stress during your day, drink less caffeine, and then limit it altogether after 3 p.m. Reduce your blue light exposure an hour before bed so you're not looking at screens or you're turning on overhead lights. I like to turn my phone on red mode so it has a red color filter on it. And this also helps me feel less tempted to scroll. It's just kind of like getting out of your own way so your body can do what it's supposed to do. Sleep in a cold room so your body's at an optimal temperature to sleep. Take a warm shower or bath or drinking hot tea before bed also helps lower your internal body temperature. Get sunlight first thing in the morning so your circadian rhythm knows the right balance of melatonin and cortisol that it needs to produce so that it will start releasing melatonin at night so you get that good night's sleep. There's a lot of talk about sleep maxing, and I love mouth taping. I love meditations before bed. I love sleep supplements. Like, I use these things, so I'm not trying to shit on them. But I'm also trying to say that I think a lot of people add on all of these things to their sleep routine because they think that they have to. And I just want to remind people that your body is meant to sleep on its own. We just have to get out of our own way. And how we do that is typically through a lot of like free, easy, simple shifts in our routine. When it comes to diet, our bodies crave comfort foods and heartier meals during winter, but soon you'll probably begin craving something fresher and lighter. So, again, with like our bodies being so in sync with nature, it's part of like the detoxification, the cleansing. Like, you will want lighter, fresher foods. Tune out the voices that tell you to go on a cleanse and eat only foods deemed clean as part of this spring cleaning, and instead just eat intuitively and seasonally. Just eat whole foods from the earth as unprocessed as possible. Like, that is literally the only quote diet that you need to follow. For your fitness routine, the first thing to upgrade is how you're working out. So, review your current routine and what's serving you. What workouts do you get excited about, or what helps you stay consistent? And then what's not serving you? What workouts are not motivating or enjoyable to you, or what mindsets are holding you back? It's also a really amazing time to try something new so that you can avoid fitness boredom and also plateauing. So try a different workout that you've never tried, or add in a new piece of equipment to make your workouts more versatile, or even just taking a different route on your hot girl walk. All of these things can be so important for avoiding plateau, fitness boredom, and refreshing your routine. Now, let's move on to spring cleaning your relationships. You know the saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? I would like to take this opportunity to make sure that you feel really proud of that, that you would want to be more like the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you can do like an audit of your relationships. Like, you can literally write down all of your friends, the coworkers, anyone that you see or talk to on a regular basis, and identify and reflect if each relationship is nourishing you or if it's draining you. And then I would also think about, how do you spend more time and energy with the people that lift you up? And for anyone that may be more draining, how can you take a step back from that relationship, set boundaries, change the way that you interact with this person, or maybe even the way that you see the relationship, in order to ensure that it's not as draining for you? I always say either change the trigger or no longer let it trigger you. So, if this is a relationship that feels unavoidable, if it's someone at work, if it's maybe an in law, and you put certain boundaries in place to minimize the time spent with them, but you still have to interact with them to some degree, that's when I would work on not letting it trigger you instead of feeling mad that you can't remove the trigger. Going back to how our brain loves habits and sameness, that goes for relationships too, which is one reason why we stay in relationships long after they are no longer serving us. Or you're still going to happy hour with the same work friends, even though you feel like you've outgrown them or you don't really have anything in common anymore. So many of us have friends that we've had for years, maybe since childhood for some of us, and we don't take the time to rethink, is this relationship still nourishing me? Or did a younger, different version of me choose this friendship? And we have since grown into different people, and this relationship no longer actually serves me. I actually would not choose this relationship now. While you're at it, I would also do a digital detox with your relationships. So, unfollow any negativity, mute anyone that doesn't like add to your life. I really want us all to curate our social media to inspire us. Let social media work for you. You do not react to social media. Like, please, for the love of God, at least mute your college friend's boyfriend, sister. Like, we should not be watching other people live their lives. We should be living our own. And we should be using social media as a tool to inspire and connect us, not as a time suck and not as a way to make us feel lesser than because so and so has the relationship or the career or the finances or whatever that you wish you had. make sure every account that you follow, every story you're viewing, every TikTok that comes up on your feed, make sure that it's something that is adding to your life, even if it's just enjoyment. I don't mean like it has to be like toxic productivity of like everything has to be making you better. I just mean it should not be watching other people live their lives so that you start feeling bad about your life. It should be something that's adding to your life, even if that's humor or even if that's like maybe you might need to unfollow some news outlets. I've certainly had to do that myself because it's just another way to curate our feeds to be something that inspires us and makes us feel good instead of something that drains us or makes us feel worse every time we log on. To spring clean your career, how you show up at work, general productivity, getting things done, review your work goals and make sure everything that you're doing during the day from, spending 5 minutes answering an email to every meeting, every appointment you have on your calendar is helping you get closer to these goals. I would also look at if you're prioritizing your time effectively. Something that really helps me is I detox the phrase, I don't have time completely out of my vocabulary. If I catch myself saying, I don't have time, like we say this a lot. I really want to start on this new project at work, but I haven't had time. Or I don't have time to work out, to meal prep, to read, whatever it may be. I will rephrase this to it is not my priority to. It is not my priority to start this project at work, or it is not my priority to read or to work out. This is, first of all, more honest. We literally all have the same amount of hours in a day. Time is actually never the issue. It's how you spend that time and what you prioritize to accomplish within that time. So, this little change has been hugely helpful for me not to feel like a victim of my time, but also to spend time more intentionally on what actually is a priority for me. For more productivity tips and how I organize my calendar, if you want to dive into this part of the spring cleaning process, the life edit process, listen to episode 128. I go in very detailed with 5 productivity secrets and how I organize my calendar. That went live last October. I talk about my routines, what I do to streamline my calendar, be more productive in work. So if you want to go down a deeper rabbit hole with this, definitely check out that episode. To spring clean your home, this one you already know, like declutter, clean. Decluttering is really important so you can feel less overwhelmed by stuff in your space. Go through the junk drawer, or if you're like me and you have junk drawers, junk closets, junk shelves, we have a lot of work to do. I like to do this over time, working on just one area at a time. Otherwise, it feels overwhelming and I am less likely to do it. Like, I know people like to do a big spring cleaning in their home, like one weekend. Couldn't be me. I would push it off and push it off and push it off. It sounds like hell. Instead, I might spend a Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning decluttering my closet because that's going to be a project. So I need like a good chunk of time. But then I might plan to clean out a drawer in my kitchen, like a lower lift project on Monday, and then organize the products in my shower on Tuesday. Like little projects every single day or throughout a certain time period. I also like the 1 year rule, which means if you haven't used it in a year, donate it or toss it. This is helpful for me because I'm someone who thinks that my clothes have feelings, and there will be a shirt that I have not worn in years. And I will be like, "Ugh, but she's so pretty." Or like, what if the perfect opportunity comes up to wear her? I'm really giving this tip to myself. If the opportunity has not come up in a year and she doesn't spark enough joy to want to wear in a long time, it's likely time to donate her. So, you know this, declutter, deep clean your home. Establish an evening shift, which is basically a routine that you do every night, like load and start the dishwasher, put away laundry, wipe countertops, fluff pillows, and fold blankets. Like a quick, 15-20 minute routine that you do in the evenings so that you wake up to a clean environment every morning. But in addition to the typical organization and decluttering, I also like to use this time to think of what to add or change in my home too. I believe that your home is a vision board that you live in. Like they say, you are what you eat, but I really believe that you are also where you live. You are your environment. So use your space to get whatever goals you want to achieve. For some examples, we have an old Hollywood gallery wall in our apartment because it really inspires me and just like makes me feel motivated whenever I look at it. I also display books from people whose careers I admire. If you want to travel more or be more adventurous in your life, put up pictures of your bucket list destinations or use little objects from your travels as your decor. You can also adjust your home for your health goals. You can DIY a little meditation corner. You can leave your yoga mat out in your living room if you want to do yoga more often. You can put a shelf of healthy cookbooks in your kitchen if you want to eat healthier. Turn your bedroom into an oasis. Get some red light bulbs, diffuse some essential oil, get more storage so you don't see any clutter in your bedroom. Really think of where your highest, best self would live, whatever that means to you, and then work to turn your current home into a living vision board of your dream life. That was 6 steps to spring clean your life with obviously lots of tips packed in there. I will see you on Thursday for Ask the Everygirl and come back next week with an episode for the Wellness Girlies. I hope you had fun with me today. Please let me know in the Spotify comments or Apple Podcast reviews if you have any more questions, any topics you want me to cover, or let me know if this episode brought you any value or what you enjoyed about it. Happy spring cleaning! I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Everygirl Podcast on Instagram or theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.